Music it on. Come on,
It's live now.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay. Yep, we're live. Okay.
Okay. Good morning, all. Good morning, all. As you know, we're here to announce the players, the squad for the America's T20 Regional World Cup qualifiers in Argentina. We're very excited about this tournament because it's going to provide us an opportunity to qualify for the World Cup once again, but in a different format, the T20. As you know, we'll go to Argentina with 7 teams, and 3 teams will come to Bermuda. And Canada will make the 4th team to play out for the 1 spot for the 2023 World Cup. I'm going to turn you over to Chairman of Selectors, Mr. Dwayne Labrock, and he will announce the 15 players squad along with the 4 standbys.
Yes, good morning to all media and good morning to Bermuda. Yeah, we have 15 that we've selected to 14 possibly going to the ICC qualifying in Argentina. It started as follows: is Delray Rollins, captain; Kamal Labrock, Trey Manders, Taryn Frey, Alan Douglas, Dominic Sabir, Jacob Alberts, Matthew Watson, Justin Pitcher, Zico Burgess, Sinclair Smith, Jared Richardson, Derek Brangman, Charles Strutt, and Malachi Jones. 14 of the 15 will be selected to go down to Argentina for the qualifier. And we also have 4 standbys. It's Jabari Darrell, CJ Otterbridge, LJ Richardson, and Stephen Kelly. So those are the players that will be chosen to represent Bermuda, and it will be narrowed down to 14 to go to Argentina. But before we go to Argentina, they're going to the United States to play some possibly games against US, possibly 3 games against maybe 3 games against United States, so that we would have some practice games before we get down to Argentina. We may have one match in Argentina prior to the tournament starting itself.
Any questions?
Definitely. This team here, are these the only players that made themselves available for this tour?
Mostly, I want to say.
Yeah, mostly. We had a meeting at Young Man Social Club some time back, a few months back, prior to Christmas Eve, about September, October, with players that were invited to play with the national team, and they had to, come around and make an agreement by signing a contract to say that they would be able to make themselves available to represent the country. And these are the names that we've chosen in reference to people that made themselves available, not through injury or
Right.
or not able to make it.
Does this team have a, because I've noted that you guys have picked Delray as the captain. Have you selected a vice captain? And I think I noted when the names were named, we have one wicket keep. We have a backup plan.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
We have two. We have two wicketkeepers. The second wicketkeeper is Jared.
Oh, Jared. Oh,
He's the
okay.
second
All right.
wicket. And in the future, via the coaching and captain, will be spoken to in reference to the vice captain.
What does this mean for the players who've been selected now? What's the mood like? What's the atmosphere for the players? Excited? Are they just taking it humbly right now for next month's event?
The players at the present time, they're just trying to put the work in and just trying to adhere to the coaches and their processes, and getting feedback from what the coach Naraj wants from the two coaches that are on island. They have a specific plan that he wants them to, execute. So they're just in the process of learning these different pieces until they get to deal with actually Naraj himself face to face.
One of the things he stressed was fitness, and I think credit to the BCB put things in place starting I think October with various coaches. From a fitness perspective, it was Kenny Thompson. What's that been like for the players as they prepare for this tournament?
Players have been going to Kenny Thompson and putting in the work with Kenny, and he also have Cal Warden doing the fielding drills on the weekend itself. So it's the physical part is being covered, and the players are relating to Kenny as Kenny, as an athlete, and there's different sciences of different parts of fitness of getting into. They say they're feeling stronger and better.
Right.
I think what you have to look at also with the players is that they all will have, various other commitments. They're, the job, the family, children. So they didn't, in the gym, they trained individually, some maybe 2 or 3 at a time, but the times were different. But the other thing that helped the experience for them was that they did a lot of running at National Stadium and the field and drills. So he really wanted the fitness part because he identified that as a major part on which we already knew. So that's where they've been. They've been in the gym, they worked hard. The ED's been working out with him. Like, she'll probably send you a couple of videos.
I've seen it.
But yeah, it's been a real purpose trying to get them fit, and everything that has been done in that early September, October, November was about fitness. Now they're in training in BHS on Saturdays and Barkley on Sundays outside. So they're getting the skill work done now. And then, like we said, they'll get to Florida. They'll play 3 matches against United States. And then from there, fly to Argentina, play another match, and then into the tournament. There are 7 teams, I want to say, in that tournament. Bahamas, Cayman, Argentina, what we got? Belize, Suriname, and Panama. All right, so there's 7, and then that top 3 will come to Bermuda in September, late September. And there's 4 teams who play for 1 spot in that World Cup. So there's players that are not in the squad now, and they want to try and get into the squad. I guess the selectors will be picking another squad, training squad. So there's still opportunity for them to come out with the best foot forward and try to get into the squad for the World Cup qualifiers in September.
Was it any early concern with the numbers of turnout? I watched the team when they first started training on Sundays up at the National Sports Center, and it was, the numbers were low. So was there any concern early?
It should be a little concern, but like I said earlier, remember the fathers, the parents, some of my husbands, they got other jobs. Some of them are working 2, 3 jobs. So it's kind of difficult. So we have to try and make sure that we provide them opportunity to do stuff on their end as well. But as long as they can meet the fitness standards, then coach will be happy, I'm sure.
Speaking of the coach, do we have an update on when he will next be able to physically see the players? Do we know when he's going to arrive on Ireland? Is he going to meet them in America? Do we know how that's going to work yet?
I'm not sure. Maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, so we live on a small island. We have very stringent rules for overseas nationals looking to work in Bermuda. So Bermuda Cricket Board, even though we're a national sport, we have to follow the same guidelines as any other employer. We have received notice that his work permit is being reviewed. We believe there will be no obstacles and that it should be done in an expedient timeline. Most likely, he will meet the team in Argentina. It could possibly be that he will return back to India first until we get full confirmation from the government of Bermuda that he can actually land and work. He is an Indian national, so he doesn't have the ease of travel like a Bermudian or a British national that can travel all over the world without having a visa. So he is also going to have to receive a visa from the UK government or US government to come to Bermuda. That also takes some time. So we've had discussions some time ago with Government House to see if they can assist us. But until the Bermuda government officially gives us a work permit in our hand, he cannot take that work permit over to India and use it to get a visa to come through the United Kingdom to us. So some obstacles because we're dealing with a person in a whole different jurisdiction than us. But again, we now have worked remotely. Mr. Waldron talks to him on a daily basis. We have the selection committee. He's been here before, so he knows the players. The players know who he is, and we believe that with or without him, we're going to have some success. But with him, we'll definitely be in a better chance to qualify in Argentina.
There was no thought of him meeting the team in the United States for the 3 warm-up matches.
Same in the United States, he requires a visa from
Right.
India. So until he gets a work permit from Bermuda, they will not give him a visa to go to the United States as well.
Should he not have access again in the United States or to Argentina, who will take over as the head coach?
Mr. Kyle Warden is the head coach on the island, but in Argentina, he will be the assistant coach if Mr. Bertrand arrives. If he doesn't arrive, it will be Mr. Waldron. If we need to provide another assistant coach, we always have our president here that can step in. I'm quite certain that there's another local coach that will be able to assist Mr. Waldron. That's been part of our staff the past years.
On the playing side, Arnold, do you think those 3-4 friendlies will be enough to get up to speed? Obviously, a Bar, Kamar, and Delray, there's not a lot of actual match play or games like these players. Do you think it's enough for those guys to get up to speed?
I don't want to underestimate the opposition, but I think if they can get the 4 matches under the belt with the still almost a month and a bit left to train, that they'll be fine. It's no late. I shouldn't say it, but we're looking to finish first and not below 3. And that's up to the players. As long as I believe that they have the ability to win the tournament. But I can lead my horse to the water, but if they don't want to drink it, it's not going to drink it. So it's on them. They have to make sure they don't underestimate the opposition and they understand the games and put the tactics that the coaches put in place and follow the protocol for the coach. And we're trying to build a culture. I know we're not professionals, but in order to achieve what we want to achieve, we have to try and be as close to it as possible. So that means that's on that the fitness part we already worked on, understanding the skill set and what they need to improve on. The mental condition, you see, we have a mental conditioning coach coming here who's worked with the West Indies and worked with a lot of professional teams. That's all in that. We got the nets. So it's open to the general public and any other sporting organizations or anybody that want to come and learn something about the mental conditioning part of sports. So we're trying to do the right things and give them all the opportunity to be successful in September, mainly. We should I say it? We also have some teams that may come here in the end of August to play before the tournament comes. We're not really, it's on the cards. We're meeting with them after this meeting. So there are some other things that are going to happen in late August, early September to give them more match practice.
I guess from your point of view as well, it's an added incentive, but also added pressure, the fact that the next qualifier is here in Bermuda. So everyone knows what's at stake. The players, you guys know the fact you've got to come back here and
we're hoping that Bermuda will get behind us and come out in September and August. September and October.
Can I just quickly talk a little bit about the sports psychologist who's coming over, Dr. Scott? Spoke to him just recently. Is it a condition for the players that they will have to speak to him? Some players may not be quite as willing to speak or open up? Are you making insisting on them speaking with him?
Yeah, so to all the players that have been selected, including coaching staff, they are now officially in the national team unless injury or emergency matters. So there will be a training camp on the 22nd of January, where they will do their 2 sessions in the morning, or at least 1 session, and then they will be under our authority, and they will have 2 sessions with the sports psychologist. And from that meeting, he will then set time slots for individual players to have an opportunity to speak with him based on the proposals from the selection committee, or a player may just want to have a one-on-one. So we're moving away from you have a choice to now you are a part of a national program, and what we say is mandatory. And if someone is unable or doesn't want to do it, then we have a group of other players that can come in. So, players want things from us, we want things from them, but if we are going to be successful, we all have to do better. And that's why we launched this announcement this way, to create some excitement, to let the entire country know, even before the players know, that they have an obligation to you. And as the president says, they have an obligation to us. We know that we are going to host a tournament in Bermuda, so it's not just about this attending on their day. It's also about the government, corporate world, and employers who are really supporting the players by affording them the opportunity to travel, to continue to support us, because this is Bermuda. And as we say, we're getting to the World Cup, so that's putting Bermuda on the map. It's not Bermuda Cricket Board. It's Bermuda that's going to win the free exposure, marketing, everything. So we need everyone in Bermuda to get behind us as of this announcement today.
Question for Arnold and Sluggo. Both of you former players, both of you also competed or started in the World Cup. Arnold, you was a coach back then, but also you tried to qualify for the World Cup as a player. What's it like now from the administration side, president and the chairman of the selection? What sort of advice you give to the players? How much has changed since the time you guys played and where you are now?
I mean, it's not changed very much for Bermuda, other than they have more opportunities of playing. Because remember, when I was playing, we had to try and qualify every 4 years. Right. So my first one was 1986 as captain, 1990 as captain, 1994, 1998. So that's a big gap. Right. But the only good thing about that was that there was a time when we had test teams and teams from all over the world coming there and playing. So we were playing at a high level anyway. It's the opposite now. Now they're getting the opportunity, but they're not getting the opportunity to play against quality opposition. Right. So, I mean, for me, it's 4 parts they really have to understand. That's being fit, what we're doing with the mental conditioning, because that is identified weakness. The skill set, the tactics. They need to understand the games.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as when we were qualifying. When we was in South Africa, we met with a gentleman, Mr. Forster, to play cricket in England, but he was happened to be dealing with one of the IPL franchises, and we happened to see him in South Africa, and Gus lined us up with a day where, it was our first time ever dealing with sportsmen, and it was kind of different, and to know, you thinking that it's about mental stuff, but it's just talking about life. They're different atmospheres, just challenging your mind and your spirit and stuff. And I think nowadays they have a lot of technology and stuff where you can go online and speak to the gentleman online, and stuff like that. So back then it was just more of a belief, self-belief, and putting your time in and working in. And I believe if the players do the same thing, I think they should be successful.
I think the other thing is that Dr. Scott did have worked with the Bermudan team already when Dave Moore was here coaching. So it's his second coming to Bermuda. So he has a little bit of understanding of the Bermudian culture.
We know the Bermuda culture. So how important are the results of these warm-up matches? Because we know our culture is when things don't go our way, we tend to go the other way. So how important are these results in these warm-up matches?
I think really the purpose of the warm-up matches, we want to win, but we want to try and get everybody to play so that when they get to Argentina, they'll be ready. But winning feels good, but the main purpose is to get them out, get cobwebs off, run around, build, bet, field, apply some of the tactics that coaches is looking for. But the main thing is when they get to Argentina that they're ready and ready to go. And they're getting 4 matches before that. So I'm thinking with 4 matches, they'll be ready to run and sprint through that tournament.
Why the captaincy change?
Well, and I had to explain to some players. I just used my own experience. I played for Bermuda from 16 to 38, captain 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And my last time as captain, I took a young group to Red Stripe, thinking, all right, I'm going to a couple of years to build this team. And then the next year, a new coach came in, and I wasn't even in the squad. So those are things that happen. But the main part about Dr. Scott coming is that builds your mental condition, and that makes you strong. And then it fits survive, And that's what we need our Bermudians to come on cricketers to understand. Maybe Bermudian sportsmen in general. Those who get to the top, and you look how they've come around, they're mentally strong. Setbacks don't hold them back. They'll find a way to get to the top. And that's what we want from our Bermuda cricket team.
So one person's going to be disappointed. Chairman?
Well, like I said, every person's going to have an opportunity in the 15 to be given the opportunity. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's going to be upsetting, but you have to know that it's still first stage in a long marathon. Because at the end of the marathon finish line is trying to qualify for the World Cup. You have stages, and you have it's the first stage. So we understand there's a stage in Bermuda, it's the second stage. So be honest with you, the same team that went to Argentina may not be the same team that may be in Bermuda, or may not be the same team here to the World Cup. You just need to try to get a bigger pool of players to be playing on the same level to be able to make it harder for the selection committee to pick a team. You can't just always just be relying on the same names. So if the pool is bigger, then you find that more guys got to work harder. So it's not upsetting. It's just this process.
When will the final 14 be announced?
We got into the 20.
We have to announce the ICC by January 26th. We're leaving Bermuda on February the 15th, so there's a possibility that the 15th player will still travel with the team in case if there's an injury overseas and ICC deems that it's an injury that doesn't allow that player to play for the remainder of the tournament, and we write in that they accept the medical report, that player can then join the team officially as the 14th player. So that's a discussion that the selection committee and coaching staff will have, because moving from Bermuda to Argentina, there is logistics with times and flights. So if someone gets injured, we're not able to get that additional player there. But I would like to say there's no disappointments. If I was in a squad of out of 29 players that tried to get into this team, 24 made it to a final selection based on some criteria. There's now 19 and I'm in 15. I'm actually happy to be even considered to play for the national program. And I just would like to say that as we mature as an organization, no one knows who will be here in 2024. So our first objective is to qualify to play in front of our Bermudians at home. Cricket is played during the summer, so there'll be more players that probably come into a new squad. Selection committee may open it up. Their job is to qualify. Once we qualify, there's another criteria, and the selection committee has another headache all the way into the final squad announcement for 2024. So, we have to move like the modern day world. You making it somewhere is one step. Are you at the top of the mountain, or are you going to stay on the top of the mountain? And I think, from coming from a sporting background in Bermuda, as soon as we reach some success, everybody lets their hair down because it's like, I know I'm good. We're changing that culture. You don't know if you're good, you don't know if you're part of the sport until the announcement is made. So today is something different, because normally we would have submitted this to you in advance and via the media, like a hard copy, and I was like, the players were not even sure. You always have a feeling, but until it's announced, and that's what we're trying to create, that hunger, that, and that passion and pride for your family. We hope that some significant others, maybe the sons and daughters, the wives, and even colleagues will listen and be like, you made it, and congratulations.
Who's making up the management team for the tour?
The manager is Courtney Trott. You hopefully Niraj will be there, so he'll be one.
Waldron.
Cal Waldron, and then we have a physio that will join us when we get to Argentina. He worked with them when they were in Antigua.
So we won't have a physio in USA?
Yes, sorry, yes. He'll be joining him in the USA.
That's it. Right. So they're still working on that before we came in there. So
Okay.
he was with them last time and it was really good. So
Just quickly returning to Delroy Rawlings' captaincy, presumably he knows that he's captain. He's got big commitments, obviously, in England during the course of the season. How involved do you think he can be, presuming hopefully Bermuda qualify out of Argentina? How involved do you think he can be as a captain during the summer when he's got commitments playing county cricket in England? Has he given you some form of confidence that he will be fully involved all the way?
well, obviously he's on a contract. That's why he didn't represent us that much last year because he wanted to nail down his contract. But he's got his contract now. We had a meeting with him and his agent yesterday, day before. He's really excited about it and he's ready to go to work and be the captain of Bermuda and get us to the World Cup using his professional experience. And with Niraj, I think, and most of the players really like him as well. So I think he can get something out of him as well. So, but Delroy has a great white ball experience playing in England, T training, 50 over competition, and the 4-day competition. So we wanted to just use its knowledge, vast knowledge, into helping these guys to get forward where we want to be.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Again, we tend to judge our players if we see them locally, but what is our local standard? So the intent of the Bermuda Cricket Board with the high performance selection and the president, if we can afford it, and our relationships, we would like to send as many players, even if it's during our primary season overseas, to play at a higher level and then come back because they'll be playing against elite players, then being comfortable in a local competition when we're facing international opposition. Out of the 3 teams that come back, which one will be Bermuda and then Canada. So we have to play at a level what we're going to face and not at a level that we're comfortable with. So it may mean that the president or Mr. Lavert may have to travel a little bit to see players, and that's at a cost to make sure that they are playing at a high level. But if we can get 4 players to play overseas, we have Mr. Lavert, we have Mr. Rollins, if we get 2 others to play more franchise cricket or go to maybe countries in the West Indies and play 2 or 3 weeks, and not for the local clubs. We're preparing to go to the World Cup. We're not preparing for a local competition. So similar to football, there are not many local players that make up the national team and we have international competition because they're playing at an international level. And we're trying to do the same for cricket. So they most likely they will have to go overseas if they can afford it through time from their jobs, families, and support from us to play at a higher level and then come back.
You saying that, where do we stand with the agreement we had with Antigua?
Leeward Islands.
Leeward Islands, sorry.
Yeah, so
Leeward
the
Islands.
pandemic, I checked the MOU, so thank you for looking up to that. We have 1 more year of the MOU. The pandemic has shut down everything internationally. They're trying to get themselves in order. We're trying to get themselves in order. Now that we know what we're doing, we're going to have talks again with them and see if they can assist us. We're going to have a team coming over from the region, hopefully next year. So if we can get some of our players out there early enough as a training camp. So we're talking to organizations in the United States as well. They're going to host the official World Cup. So our intent is to get our players playing at an elite level, as the president said, and not at a domestic level where we get comfortable. Because when the tournament starts, it's an international cricket council tournament. It's not a domestic tournament, and we want to make sure that Bermuda goes to the World Cup.
And the thing that doesn't help us is that we play once or twice in a week. When we go to a tournament, you're playing 5 or 6 matches in 7, 8, 9, 10 days.
Mhm.
So if you're not fit, you're not making it through the tournament, and your performance is not going to be where it needs to be. So those are things we've looked at over the years and just put into place things that we need to work on, which is what we've done. We try to support them with it. I mean, we don't have a lot of money, but we're trying to put everything in place to give them a chance to qualify. So Argentina is just the first step. And then when they come back, we will need to start working again for another 7, 8 months to make sure that they're ready for the end of September and October. And if we're successful, then we need to follow their process, which is getting ready for the World Cup, which is not an easy feat with the type of money that we're looking at.
You saying that, when can we anticipate, because this is a vital time, when can we anticipate the start of the season? Because you're gonna want a lot of time in the middle for the players to prepare themselves if successful in Argentina. So when can we look forward to that?
I think that season's going to start early May. This weekend, we're ready for
Season will start, saying it on the air, so I'm putting a lot of pressure on our cricket, and that's a cricketer, Mr. Stephen Douglas. We're still friends after this. The season will start the last weekend of April.
it.
Okay.
Right? So it's a lot of pressure. I'm saying it now, so if it doesn't happen, you can hit me upside my head. The season will start the last weekend of April, and the reason why, with all the international competitions, domestic obligations that are traditional, very important to developing the players as well, and getting our 50 overs and T20 competitions. It's going to be a hectic season, but a good season of cricket. And I can let you know that if things go as planned, we will probably have the most active season in cricket for years, from the middle of August, from Cup match, all the way into the first week in October. Cricket will be played every week, probably every weekend, with international competition as well, prior to the ICC tournament. So stay tuned.
You say the end of April. What format are we starting with? Do you have that?
I believe it's going to be 50
50
overs,
overs.
50 overs, so that we build into the T20s.
Well, Stephen, it's up to you now.
He's got it under control, trust me.
It's getting Gronsman under control.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get it done.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you.
Comrade Jam will send that out to you.